Welcome to Spark Learning Session. Today we'll be talking about tools for NLP. There are lots of features transformations that need to be done on a text to get it to the point that machine learning algorithms can understand. Luckily, Spark have placed important ones in a convenient feature transformer calls. Now let's get started. To do that, we will import some libraries. Let's import them. We have first library we're going to import is Spark, PySpark SQL Spark Session. That's what we're going to import first. Second, what we would like to import is PySpark SQL function. Import. We would like to import. Second is PySpark SQL functions call and UDF. And thirdly, what we want to import is PySpark SQL types. Import integer type. That's the third thing we want to import. And lastly, but not least, we want to import PySpark ML features, import tokenizer and regex tokenizer. There are different two types of tokenizer and they behave differently. You will see. And there are a few things you want to import right away at the beginning. Now, let's dive into the tokenizer. What is tokenizer? Can you tell me? Tokenization is a process of taking next text to the sentence and breaking it into individual terms, usually words. A simple tokenizer class provides this functionality. An example below shows how to split sentences into a sequence of words. Regex tokenizer allows more advanced tokenization based on regular expression, regex matching. By default, the parameter pattern, the regex default, is used as a delimiter to split input text. Alternatively, users can set parameter gaps to false, indicating regex pattern denotes tokens rather than splitting gaps, and finding all matching occurs as a tokenized result. So that's what tokenizer is. Now, can you tell me what's the next step to do tokenization? We should start with having some data. We need some data for tokenization. And to do that, we need to create a data frame. And this is how we can create a data frame. We're gonna say we're gonna create a data frame called sentence data frame, and we'll Spark create data frame, and then we'll use 0, and we'll do this to create a data frame, and this should give us a data frame. And before that, we forgot one thing. Do you know what is that? We forgot to create a Spark session. Now let's go back and create a Spark session here, and this should give us a Spark session called Spark. Now let's run this again and see what we get. Now this creates a data frame. Now we do this. Can you tell me what are three things we need to do after having a data? First of all, we need to look at a schema. Second thing, we need to look at the summary statistics, and third thing we need to do is look at some sample data. Those are three things we need to do when we have a data. Now let's do the schema. Let's look at the schema first. We have two columns here, ID and sentence. And second thing we have is we need to understand the summary statistics. Here we'll have this will give you the summary statistics of data, such as what are the count of the rows, mean of the values for a given column, whatever count of values we have, what's the mean, standard deviation, and min and max. And we only have the ID as a numeric column, so it's going to give you the different attributes of the data, descriptors of the data. Now, next, what we're going to do is we're going to get some few sample data from this data frame and see what we have. And you should give some sample data. Now, once we have this, next step, we're going to tokenize this sentence data frame in two ways, using a regex tokenizer and one is simple tokenizer. Now, let's start by doing a simple tokenization where we'll just simply call tokenizer and we'll just create tokenizer using a tokenizer function and we'll tokenize a sentence called tokenized and is a tokenizer acts upon the sentence data frame and creates something called tokenized output, and we will save that. And then what we need to do is we need to create some user defined function called count tokens, and it will take the words and count number of words in that, and the output is going to be integer data type. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select tokenize and we're going to select the sentence and words. We're going to call we're going to uh, we're going to what we're going to do is we'll look at a column called sentence. We'll look at a sentence and the output will be the number of words it has, and the third column will be tokens. So tokenize will have three things. One is select, one is words, and one is tokens. And how do you calculate tokens? The column tokens we calculate by using a count token function, where it'll calculate the words and it'll show you how many words it has. And what's the delimiter of when counting words is going to be gaps. And once we do this, we'll get some results here called tokenize. And once it selects that two columns, it's going to select three columns: sentence, words, and tokens. And thirdly, what we need to do is we'll do the resist tokenization, which is more advanced form of tokenization. Resist tokenizer, and it'll take input column sentence, and it's going to outer column is going to words. And a partition pattern will be using is a word pattern. That is, it'll look at it for words in the sentence. Second thing, we'll get a regex tokenized. That is, you'll need a regex tokenizer and it takes a sentence data as input and transforms into regex tokenized. Now, our next job is to select the few data from the regex tokenize and we'll select three columns: sentence, words, and tokens. And tokens is calculated using count tokens as we did before, and it's going to be a It's gonna be a it's gonna be words same as before, and then let's put it at a first. Let's do it first because it is common and applies to both of these functions. Let's do this and then this. And once we have this, then it should give us a tokenized one for a both simple token and tokenizer. Once we have this, it should give us the proper results that we need. Now, let's move on to summarize what we learned today. We learned about tools for NLP. First of all, we imported some required libraries. Then we create a Spark session. Then we create some sample data. And we look at the sample data using the schema, describe, and head. And then we created something called count tokens user defined function to count number of words. And it does counts by number of the delimiter is a gaps. That's what it has. And then we create a simple tokenizer that took a sentence and tokenized into words, and then we took a register tokenizer and tokenized that into words using a pattern W, and the results were similar, but except last sentence where there was a comma instead of gaps, and register tokenizer worked better there. So that's all we have today. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next learning session. Thank you so much.